Well, this year in central Nebraska, it was a great year for apples, and you might not know, but there is an apple orchard. You don't have to go very far. It's just south of Riverdale.
And you know what? Our Good Life guy, Brian Gnuse, joins us now with another edition of All in a Day's Work. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning to you. It had been a long, I remember going as a kid to an orchard, but it had been such a long time. It was quite a treat for me to go out and go for a visit. I wanted to know what it was like to work at an orchard, so I headed to Apple Acres Orchard and hung out with their crew for a day. During a good apple season like this, there's always something that needs picking.
30 years ago, Beverly and Keith Nuttleman decided to buy this orchard. They've shrunk it a bit over the years, but it's still a large operation because it's basically a side business to their main fencing business.
We have 9 varieties of apples, and they do ripen at different times. First one is the Gala, starting about the end of August, 1st of September, and then they ripen through September and even into October. We have some tail enders. The Red Delicious is some of those later ripening ones, and some of another later season is the Fuji. And probably 2 hands on them, yeah, because if there's 2 growing together, they're both gonna fall off.
The day I came, they were on their first round of picking the Jonagold apples.
So right now I think we're just color picking. So we're going through and we're finding all the ones that have a lot of color on them because a lot of them aren't ripe yet. So we're going to pick the colored ones, and then later we'll come in and get the rest of them once they're more ripe.
Kind of labor intense. You have to do everything by hand. We don't have any apple picking machines, so the Lord sends us workers, and we put them to work at picking everything by hand.
This year gave them a bumper crop of apples, which is great, but also means a lot more work.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see how many apples we have. And when you come out here, you look at the orchard, and I mean, it seems pretty big, but once you step in here, there's a lot of trees and even more apples. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's a ton of apples, but a lot of people like apples, so we sell a lot too.
We bring them up to the apple shed, and we run them through our apple machine and sort them and get them, and then we bag everything by hand, box them.
And then if they're not good enough to sell to people to eat, we'll put them in another box, and then they either go to the cows or we make cider with them.
It's great when we have a big crop like this. The Kearney Public Schools take our apples, and this year we're going to Grand Island Public with them. And the kids do like the fresh apples, and they like to buy local produce, so they're very helpful for us.
Working in an orchard does have its perks, but it's probably not for everyone, as there's never a shortage of things to do.
It's definitely different, and it's relaxing, and I don't know, it's just cool. It's nice to do something like this, be outside and with nature.
A lot of running around to do, sometimes it's a little too much probably, but yeah, you don't get bored.
Brian Gnuse, NTVs Good Life, Riverdale.
Before the recent the freezing temps came through central Nebraska, they were able to pick a good supply of fruit from the orchard and put it in their coolers. So, if you're interested in some Nebraska tree-ripened apples, head to their website, appleacresorchard.com. You can find their store hours for when they'll be selling, and they'll also be available at the Hastings and Kearney farmers markets. So and if you want to find the website link on nebraska.tv later, I will have it there available.
Good.
So
Way to get work done, all in a day's work. I agree with that gentleman. Just be outside. Just to be able to work outside would just be enough. But those apples look really good. So how many apples did you
I was just
did
going
you
to say,
try?
what did you?
I did not dive in, but honestly, I was a bit overwhelmed by all the apples. You could see the trees were thick, and you're just like, how are they ever going to get all these picked?
Yeah.
You know,
Day's work.
Well, I guess I didn't realize that they raised that many varieties.
That's what was interesting too.
Yeah.
meaning that they're picking for almost a 2-month period where they start, the early ones start getting ripe, and then they just keep going from that. So it's a job come fall. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Way to get work
I
done.
want an apple now.
I do too.
Or 2 or 3s.
That was good. That was very good. So check out our website, and you'll have the link to their website.
You
on
got
our
it.
website.
You bet.
Very nice.
Thanks, Brian. And we'll be back with more Good Life. Stay with us.